Greetings everybody, this is GB the Blue Engine here, and today I'm going to be doing another unscripted video similar to the one I did last August. And this video will be an unboxing and discussion of the Plarail 80th Anniversary Railway Series Thomas. Now before I get into the unboxing itself, I should say that this is obviously a very Wooden Railway centric channel. Obviously that is primarily what I use in my series, and it's definitely the range I've collected for the most since I was a kid. But I've definitely dabbled quite a bit in some of the motorized Trekmaster ranges. I mean, for Christmas in 2007, I got the Road Control Thomas Timmins chess set, the one with the flip face Thomas. Now this was kind of my first major Trekmaster item. Although I think before that I might have gotten the Tomy Annie and Clarabelle from a school. For someone at the school I went to, but the Timmins chess set was definitely the first major motorized item I want to say that I got. And then a year after that, for Christmas of 2008, I got the ever so famous Thomas Action Canyon set, which honestly might still be my favorite Thomas playset for any merchandise range. All my collection of motorized items, Tomy Trekmaster isn't as big as my Wooden Railway A collection. I still have a decent handful of motorized engines, primarily from the Hit Toys Trekmaster era, but even a few Tomy items here and there as well. But when it comes to Plarail specifically, admittedly that's never been a range that I've collected for myself. In fact, this is actually my first Plarail item of any sort. As someone who, who's lived in the United States their entire life, never has left my country, it's obviously Plarail stuff isn't as accessible to me as some of the older US Tomy items, or Trekmaster, and obviously some of them more the newer motorized engines. But I have definitely been interested in delving into it a bit more. It definitely seems like they make a lot of good stuff, and I do want to perhaps at the very least grab a few of the more major characters that I didn't get in Trekmaster back in the day. And when this was announced, like a lot of people, I definitely thought it looked really cool. And I figured, why not make this a starting point? So yeah, that's kind of my history with the motorized engines, and now we get to the unboxing itself. And first of all, I do want to look at the box. Obviously, this camera's not really focused. Let's go fix that. Obviously, you have the image of the toy itself. I know usually a lot of these Plarail items come with a window here, which lets you see the actual toy itself, but this one doesn't. But I think I guess just that illustrated style, they definitely wanted to have that sort of illustrated style going with the little picture of Thomas from the Railway series here, from the Thomas Tank Railway series book, which was the second in the series. And so I guess that's kind of their compromise. Obviously, you don't see the toy itself. You see a picture of the toy itself, not the actual toy itself, and that's in here. But I do think it is a very nice box. Obviously, it does show little booklet here included. I'm guessing that's the Plarail logo in Japanese. Unfortunately, I don't really know much about Plarail, but yeah. But yeah, looking at the sides, there's another shot of Thomas himself. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. Yep, there he is. There's the Thomas toy himself, without any Clarabelle though. And on the other side, there's another picture of the Thomas Tank Engine cover art. There's a top there. Not really much to say. Basically a bunch of text I can't read. Don't know why the camera isn't focusing. Unfortunately, this is a bunch of text I can't read. Maybe I'll use the Google Lens translator on it or something. And then on the back, there's the instructions, and for replacing the battery, and some more Japanese text I can't read. I think that's a warning label, I guess, but yeah. I do kind of I just noticed too, like they also like use the Thomas the Thomas from the package itself, which is neat for like the instructions and how to replace the battery. But that all leads me into the unboxing of this engine right here. So I mean, there's a little bit of tape right here. Might need to grab this. Might need to get my scissors for that one. Maybe I. Yeah, I'm getting it. I think I'm definitely getting it. I'll say the hardest part is always trying to get it to like a place where you can grip it. Ooh, I did not want to do that. I didn't want to hurt the box like that. But oh well. And then there's the flap. Got that. Oh. There's a bit of styrofoam in here. Sorry, my phone just went off. Oh, and there it is, and it's plastic cake and it's plastic casing with the styrofoam. Let me just get that taken off. Ooh. All right. So we got Clarabelle here with her Railway Series face. Definitely think that's kind of neat. You know, I actually kind of I had like seen like, you know, images of this merchandise. And I did like notice like Annie and Clarabelle don't have their like names right here, which is kind of interesting to me. Admittedly, it has been like kind of like a hot minute since I've read like the old like Railway Series books. So I'm guessing like maybe in the illustrations they didn't have their names like on their sides like they do in the TV series, but regardless, there's Clarabelle there. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about her and Annie after I talk about Thomas. Let's get her out. And they both have their Railway Series illustrated faces. And I kind of like that, like how they have different, like you can definitely like tell them apart. Obviously, like this one that has like a different face. That's kind of like looking a bit like sort of like the upper right hand corner, and this one is looking a bit like more on the bottom right. And I think maybe I don't know, kind of feel like some of their proportions are different. I definitely think it's rather neat. Obviously, you will definitely need like a way to tell them apart, other than the couplings and especially mostly due to the lack of names on the sides. So yeah, here they are. Let's get that. I'm gonna block the styrofoam out of the way, and let's get to our number one engine, the czar of the show himself, Thomas. And yeah, he's definitely. Oh, there's a little bit of styrofoam there. Yeah, he definitely like looks really. Yeah, definitely looks pretty cool here. Obviously, I got my cat in the background, but yeah, I've definitely like seen. Obviously, I've seen like images of what this looks like online, and obviously on the box itself. But you know, like. But especially actually looking at it in person, it's actually like really, it's just like really neat. I want to say. Obviously he has like his face like represents is a representation of like the face he had like on the cover of the Thomas Engine Railway Series book. The way this is like illustrated on like the toy. It kind of like reminds me of like movies like Across the Spider-Verse or like Bad Guys, where you know you have like that like CGI animated look, but with like sort of like the hand drawn details. It definitely, but obviously like those are computer generated movies, and this is a actual physical toy. So there's like a bit of a difference there, but it does like look like really neat to me. Like just like actually seeing it in person and not just in like the promotional images and whatnot. Then we have a side. Obviously, this is just a sticker, but like it does like it definitely like looks a bit like a lot like is it like how he's illustrated in the in the like Thomas Hagen Rose series book, and by Clyde, no, not Clyde Sprong, Reginald Dalby. That's what I was thinking of. And I kind of like I really like how like if you look closely, you have this like sort of like sheen on him, sort of like reflection. And there's the other side, or the same top. But yeah, it's definitely like, obviously I definitely think like the face is probably the most interesting part of this to most people, including myself. And yeah, I just think it's just like a really nice face with some like, I just like really like that like sort of hand drawn illustrated detail from like that reflects upon the style of the like the original Dalby Rose series book from the Tom Singleton Rose series book, I want to say. No detail back here though, but it's all good. You won't obviously like you'll probably mostly have this coupled up to Annie Clarabelle, so you probably won't see the back too often. And I didn't get this right away myself. I didn't like pre-order it or anything. I think like when it first came out, it was like out of stock on the Tomy on the actual Tomy website, and like all the eBay listings have been like kind of like price gouging it a bit. But I eventually found like this listed on like the Japanese Amazon website, where like it was still like out of stock for a little bit, but then like I went on it just out of curiosity one day, like a few nights ago I want to say, or maybe like it was more like a week ago maybe. Either way, like I came across like the listing for it and it had like one left, and decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up. and with shipping, I did ultimately pay around like $45 for this, which is generally a bit more than I would like to spend on like an individual toy train, even with like 2 pieces of rolling stock here. But a lot of that like was just the shipping. I think like the item itself was like, I want to say it was like $28 maybe. Like, and I know like on like the official Tomy websites like listed as like 3,800 yen. So not quite sure how that like translates to USD, but I think it was about like $28, so $28.99 for me maybe. But almost forgot also another little interesting thing in the box. This little pamphlet here. It's actually like a lot. You know, I did like see like people like show this off in some of the like unboxings, but it's actually a lot smaller than I thought it would be. But still pretty neat. It has like all the little illustrations above like the characters. It's definitely like it's definitely like a nice little bonus item. But yeah. I guess like some more things. I know like some people have commented on, and like particularly like these little like white reflections here, and I wasn't really sure how I was gonna feel about them, but I think like actually like looking at them in person, it definitely looks a bit better. Looks a lot better than I thought it would. Although I guess like some people like would prefer to have them like removed, but I think they're fine personally. And like I said, we have Annie and Clarabelle. I kind of like went on my whole tangent about how they don't have their name on their side, which is rather interesting. But you do have like their faces that are obviously. I should probably have them on camera. They're obviously illustrated. Like their faces are obviously like in that same like Reginald Dalby style from like when we see them in the Rose series books. Although I don't think they did they. I mean, obviously, like they did like appear in like the in Thomas and the Breakdown Train, because that was when Thomas got them in his branch line. But I can't remember if like there was like a really good illustration of them in that book, but still. I know like there was also like some comments I saw about like how obviously like this is supposed to be like reflective like of like the cover for the Thomas Tank Engine Race Series book, and but like in that cover he's pulling like a bunch of trucks rather than any Clarabelle, which kind of makes it a bit less accurate. But personally, I personally definitely prefer them including any Clarabelle, since I think like all honestly that would probably just amounted to like some generic rolling stock. I mean, maybe like if it did like reflect this illustration closely, that'd been pretty neat. But and obviously like with Thomas, you can't like really have him without any Clarabelle, so you know I think like I definitely prefer how they did this rather than just having like the trucks there. But that's just me personally, and I'm just gonna see if there's anything else in the box that might be worth interesting. Doesn't look like there is. So what I'm gonna do next is put a battery in this. Put a battery in this little guy. Maybe put some of this trash to the side, and then maybe have him do a little run around this loop. All right, so I did have a little bit of trouble getting Thomas's body out of the way so I could access the battery compartment, but now he has a fresh new battery, and let's see how he runs. It's about to run into the cat. Oh, there he is. There he goes. All right. So yeah. Overall, definitely a very cool collector's item here, and you know, and especially like in an age in which obviously the merchandise has been sort of dominated by the Origins Go, although they are going back to they are of course going back to the classic style, so that's neat, but still kind of neat to see them like do some like Race Series merchandise. But if you like this video, feel free to feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Maybe I'll be back with some more Plarail items down the line.